What I have noticed among the next generation behind me and a generation behind that is there's a lot more selfishness among the population than there was in my generation. Nobody's asking what they can do for their country. They're just asking how can we grab as much as we can, as quickly as we can, with the least amount of resistance. And it kind of shows in the behavior. In any event, we got off the ship today. I had a nice beer at one of their concession parks and watched all of the people flock to Diamonds International, which is a big outlet for all the cruise ships and all the ports around in the Caribbean. And the one thing that really disturbs me is yesterday we were on the island of Roatan, which is a very poor island. And the people are extremely poor and impoverished. And Royal Caribbean built a little village there on a dock to get the tourist business going. There are a few rich Americans that build houses there. But the village itself is very impoverished. The cab driver complained the whole time we were going about how poor she was. And she had 5 children. The oldest one had 5 children and just moved back into her house because the oldest husband died. And it seems, first off, one of the things that really would help this area would be population control. I don't know what the politics of that are, but I imagine there would be a lot of opposition. And she was complaining how there wasn't any pension, there wasn't this, there wasn't that. We stopped by one of the port hamburger shops, and a hamburger was $21, a cheeseburger $2 more. And they said that's because of the port taxes. So there's a big disparity, and even with the new ventures, the majority of the people can't afford any of the facilities there, which is real startling. I would think that rather than bombing the shit out of foreign countries, we should probably help them out a little bit. It seems ironic that we cause a lot of these conditions through our banana republic policy, and when we create these conditions and they want to immigrate, all of a sudden we clamp down on immigration. But that's just another little petty observation of mine. In any event, we met some people on board that were the population that I sort of surveyed is really divided here also, like in the general public. You have the true believers that believe that the deep state or ignorant Democrats or rich minorities paid people off to win the election for the Democrats, wherein Mr. Trump was the actual winner, and that the only people that know what they do are the ones that vote Republican, and the rest are ignoramuses or criminals or somewhere in between. And today's news was really disturbing. There was an article that in order to get unity, there's a movement afoot to get a pardon for Mr. Trump. My view is that that if that happens, we've got no law and order whatsoever, that the whole law and order activities and movement from Richard Nixon on has been hypocritical, and we don't deserve a democracy thinking that this guy is a blatant crook, he's an outlaw, and under some definitions he'd be considered a traitor, and to give him a pardon would be one of the biggest misjustices in the history of the world, aside from being wrong. And anyway, that's the comment right now. One of the other things that I noticed is that the super right, the neocons, etc., are really big on talking about gun control and issues like this, feeling that they don't want to have anything to do with society. They call themselves sovereign citizens. And when I explained under common law that what that really was talking about was the term outlaw, and they were actually outlaws, and they wanted to be outlaws. They didn't want to participate in civilized society. They got offended, insulted me, called me names, and things like this, which was the way I think the less informed or ignorant people fight when they can't think of any winning argument. So as I was saying, I go back to my high school days when Colorado had the Colorado Courtesy Patrol. They carried gas around to help stranded motorists. They pushed motorists in distress if they had to pop their clutch or something. For a start, their function was to help the people. And that morphed. And it morphed because we got a bunch of cheapskates there that don't like government. They don't like to pay for government. And they think government is something to use to kill opposition and to earn revenue. So now we have police that are revenuers. They lurk behind signs. They disguise their vehicles. And they look for miscreants. They don't look to help. The modern policeman is not a Boy Scout for sure. And when they can't find anybody to harass or issue a ticket to, then some of them go around committing murders randomly, and others. Of course, I mean that facetiously, but it's terrible. We need to change the whole police culture. You take the security on a ship. They act like everybody coming on the ship is a possible saboteur, drug smuggler, whatever. They're not very helpful in the lines. That attitude has got to change if we're going to maintain a civil society, rather than have somebody suspicious of others all the time in power. So that's probably my rantings and ravings for today. I hope you people will have a miserable time, and talk to you later. Bye.